Living things are composed of cells. Page 17. Recap. A. The cell is the basic unit of all living things. All living things are made up of one or more cells. B. Cells are very, very small. A microscope is necessary to observe cells and their structures. Continuing advances in microscopes and instrumentation have increased the understanding of cell parts and their functions. Some specialized structures within a cell, called organelles, are surrounded by a membrane that separates them from the rest of the cell's contents. Each cell part or organelle performs a specific function. Many of these organelles can be observed with light and electron microscopes. Although all living things, from bacteria to elephants, are made of cells, the chart below focuses on the parts of plant and animal cells. Plant and animal cells contain some of the same organelles and some that differ. Cell parts. Cell membrane, the living boundary of a cell. It's flexible and it allows a cell to change its shape. It's selectively permeable to certain substances, which means some substances can pass through it and others cannot. The cell membrane controls which molecules enter, such as food and oxygen, and leave, such as excess water and waste. Cell wall, a tougher outer covering that lies outside of the cell membrane. It is non-living and it's thicker than the cell membrane, giving it shape and support. The cell wall is found in plant cells and is not found in animal cells. Cytoplasm, a clear gel-like fluid surrounded by the cell membrane in which organelles are found. It's the place where many important life processes occur. Endoplasmic reticulum, also known as ER. The ER is a folded network of membranes within the cytoplasm. It provides a way for substances to move around the cell. It's the place where many cell processes, such as protein synthesis, occur. Vacuole. The vacuole is a space surrounded by a membrane for the temporary storage of water and other substances. There's usually one large vacuole in plant cells, and in animal cells there's small and more numerous vacuoles. Nucleus. The nucleus is usually the largest organelle in a cell. It is surrounded by a nuclear membrane. It contains necessary information to control the functions of the cell, such as DNA. Mitochondria. These organelles found in the cytoplasm are used for oxygen to release energy from food molecules during cellular respiration in both plant and animals. Chloroplast. Chloroplast is an organelle in the cytoplasm that contains green chlorophyll. Chlorophyll transforms energy from sunlight to make food such as sugar during photosynthesis. Chloroplasts are only found in plant cells that are exposed to light and make food. For example, the cells of a plant's roots do not have chloroplasts. Part C. Cells come in many shapes and sizes. A cell's shape and size matches the job the cell performs within an organism. In other words, shape matches function. For example, the cells in the spongy layer of a leaf have irregular shapes. These shapes provide space between cells for the passage of air so that the gases in air, such as carbon dioxide, water vapor, and oxygen, are made available to all the cells in the leaf. The cells in a multicellular organism are specialized. They have specific jobs to do. A cell within a multicellular organism cannot survive on its own. It depends on other cells to do the jobs for which it is not specialized. For instance, red blood cells are specialized to carry oxygen, which they pick up and pass through the lungs. Other cells cannot get oxygen themselves. They depend on red blood cells to bring it to them, as red blood cells circulate around the body. Plant and animal cells are similar in many ways. They have many of the same parts. However, only plant cells have cell walls, as seen in the picture below. Many plant cells have chloroplasts. Diagrams like the one shown show typical plant and animal cells. Not all plant cells look like boxes, and most animal cells are not round. Actual cells have 3 dimensions and come in numerous other shapes that match their functions and locations within the organism. Section D. Contributions of many scientists over many years led to the development of cell theory. The first simple microscope was made by van Leeuwenhoek. He was one of the first people to describe living cells. Hooke used microscopes to look at many things. He gave cells their names after looking at a piece of cork. He was looking at the walls of dead plant cells. Eventually, people recognized that all living things have cells. Schleiden, Schwann, and Virchow are 3 19th century scientists that drew conclusions from their studies of cells, which formed the basis of the cell theory. This theory states that 1. All organisms are made of 1 or more cells. 2. A cell is the basic unit of life that can perform the processes necessary for life. And 3. All cells come from cells that already exist. Continuing advances in microscopes, other instruments, and microscopic techniques have increased our understanding of cells, organelles, and their functions. As a result, more information has been added to the cell theory. 4. Cells contain hereditary information, DNA, which is passed from cell to cell during cell division. 5. All cells have basically the same chemical composition. And 6. All energy conversions and other life processes occur within cells. Section E. Cells continually grow, repair themselves, and make new cells. The cell's nucleus contains important parts which direct these processes. Deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, is a complex molecule which contains coded instructions. This information is stored and passed on to future cells. DNA molecules are located within the nucleus of complex organisms, like plants and animals. Chromosomes are tightly wound sections of DNA. Chromosomes direct the life processes inside the cell. Each species of organism has a unique number of chromosomes in its cells. Often, but not always, these chromosomes occur in pairs. Section F. Cells go through a life cycle known as the cell cycle. There are 3 main phases to the cell cycle: interphase, mitosis, and cytokinesis. Interphase is the phase of the cell cycle during which the cell grows and carries out its life functions. Changes that take place during interphase prepare a cell for division into 2 new cells. Near the end of interphase, the DNA of a cell is duplicated and an exact copy is made, so that each new daughter cell will get a complete set of chromosomes from the parent cell during cell division. Mitosis, the first phase of cell division in body cells, is the part of the cell cycle where the nucleus divides. The 4 steps of mitosis are prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. I always remember these 4 phases as PMAT: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. PMAT. During these steps, half of the duplicated chromosomes of the parent cell are passed to each daughter cell. The result is that each new cell produced during the cell cycle has the same number and type of chromosomes as the parent cell. During cytokinesis, the cytoplasm of the parent cell divides. This occurs right after mitosis. The 2 daughter cells are separated, and each is surrounded by a cell membrane. Each smaller daughter cell now enters interphase, and the cell cycle continues. Section G. Cell division takes place in a different way when sex cells necessary for sexual reproduction are produced. The process called meiosis produces sex cells. The cells which result from meiosis have only half the number of chromosomes body cells have, 1 of each of the original pair. When 2 sex cells, the egg and sperm, unite, 1 new cell is formed. This cell has a full number of chromosomes, half from one parent and half from the other parent. The cell will divide repeatedly to form a new organism. This ends the living things are composed of cells section.